How he is, this is 2 Minute Game Crit. I'm Stephen Beirne, you can find me in long form at Normally Rascal. Today I'm going to be talking about a genre of games like the Legacy here. In the Legacy, you walk around this deserted wasteland and eventually come across a few things of interest. Now, games like the Legacy are often uncharitably called walking simulators or first-person walkers, usually by people who want to dismiss them. My gripe is, it's a way of looking at the genre that's stuck in a limiting mentality of what games can do and how the medium works in general. So I want to break down some of the underlying subtext of these terms and challenge their continued use. First, there's first-person walker, or the alternative wanky version, first-person experiencer. Personally, I don't like these variations because focusing on camera perspective misses the forest for the trees. Anyway, they're far more often called by the pejorative walking simulators, which is a name that came about through a very literal way to describe what you do in these games. You walk. Walking's not seen as something especially interesting for a game to have because millions of other games feature walking already. It's boring and normal. Through this logic, a game that simulates walking is connoted as valueless. Now this all comes from a mentality which erases anything that's not a game's mechanics from consideration of the medium's formal structure. But look at what the player does mechanically in a game isn't always a clear indication of what a game does in general. We're used to this idea with horror games, so it's weird how it's a problem with something like The Legacy or Proteus or Dear Esther. There's been some effort to reclaim the term walking simulator, but it's so rooted in this backwards thinking, I think it's still a fairly wrong-headed way to describe these sorts of games. Instead, I think we should call them phantom rides, after the genre of early film where the camera was strapped to the front of a train. Phantom rides pioneered the whole idea of moving the camera on a rail to give the sense of animation to the viewer. People used to go to the cinema just to be transported from the theatre to a journey on a railway line. But it wasn't just a novel sensation of movement, it was an opportunity for them to experience local sites in new ways, or to visit faraway places they'd never otherwise be able to see. So rather than thinking of the Legacy and all them as games that simulate walking, I think it'll be useful to reframe things to reflect what they actually do, transport us to other places for new experiences. That way we can find better ways to express ourselves and to understand these games without the burdensome language put there by people who, to put it nicely, aren't really interested now. So there we are, Phantom Rides. I'm Stephen Beirne, you can find me at Normally Rascal and on Twitter, or support my work by popping over to Patreon and becoming a patron. Cheers for watching.